Good afternoon and welcome to my informational video on Advanced Excel, how to use macros and pivot tables. Why should you use Excel? Well, the advanced uses of Microsoft Excel may surprise you. I find that many managers who need it don't really know how to utilize many of the features that Excel offers. Two of those features that I want to show you today are the use of macros and pivot tables. These features can help managers organize and sort data in very useful and efficient ways. First off, my name is Nicole McLeod. I have a Bachelor's of Science with a concentration of accounting degree from Eastern Oregon University. I'm a finance manager at a large Indian casino, and I have many years of experience using Excel. I get often called about questions on how to use Excel, how to do something in Excel, and because of this, my nickname at work is Excel Queen. So the first thing I want to show you is how to use a macro. A macro is a recorded series of tasks like mouse clicks and data changes that can automate a type of repetitive task that you find yourself doing all the time. I use macros when I download raw data from a different software program and it gives me a big list of data, and then I need to sort it and change some formats and just overall make it look pretty. There may be different ways that you find you can use macros in the work that you do. I also want to point out that macros are available in all Microsoft Office products. So I'll start off with the demonstration of a macro. So here is a list of data that I just downloaded from the internet. Random information not related to any work that I do. This is banking information. It has amounts and account types for accounts that were opened. So I would take this data. Well, first I'm going to start my macro. Okay, that's the point of this. So I'm going to go to Review, over here to View, and over to Macros, and I'm going to click this button called Record Macro. First thing I have to do is name my macro. So I'm just going to call it Download Data Cleanup. So if you know what it is, and you can make a shortcut for it, so I would do like Control D for download. It would make me think of that. It's probably good to store them. Well, we'll just go with this workbook, and I'm going to say to organize data downloaded. That's good enough. You can describe it however you want, just so you can find it later. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. Oh, it doesn't like my name. Okay, what does it like? Oh, it doesn't like my dash and cleanup. Okay. What? Syntax of this name isn't correct. Doesn't include a space or character that isn't starts with the letter. Oh, I think I can't have spaces. That's right. Sorry, mine are already saved. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so it's now recording. You can see there's a little stop button down here. So the first thing I'm going to do is, format my columns here to be fitted. Okay, now all my columns are fitted. I'm going to do the same for my row. If you don't already know how to do that, you just double click between the columns, and you can double click between the rows. Okay, so we've got that. And now I want to make my amounts look like a dollar value. So I'm going to put some commas in there and decimal places. Let's see, maybe I want to change my date format. I can change it to a long date. No, let's go back to a short date. And let's adjust that column again. What else would we want to do? Oh, we want to make these titles bold. And let's say we want to go ahead and apply a filter. Okay, so that put filters at the top of our title headings. All right, now I'm going to stop the record. Okay, I think my data looks good, and this is how I want it to be. So I'm done with the macro, but just to show you how it works, it saved all of those steps I just did. So here's the raw data again, and if I go and I go back to macros, and I can click View Macros, and then I can run the one I just saved, and it'll do all those steps really quick. Boop, boop, boop. See? Done in like half a second. Alright, that's how you record a macro. It's useful, again, like if you download information every single day and you need to do this sorting and cleanup every day, you just save the macro and it saves you all those steps that we did manually one by one. Alright. Another use of Excel in large data tables is to make a pivot table out of your data. A pivot table is a summarized version of data that comes from a much longer list of data. It puts all of your data into just a short, small table. The sorting options are really, really unlimited. If you can think of a way you want your data sorted, then a pivot table can help you do it. I use pivot tables at work for looking at month-end inventory balances and how they've changed over the months. I reconcile my fixed assets using pivot tables. I also do different types of cost tracking over time frames using pivot tables. Let me show you how a pivot table works in Excel. So we're going to use the same data that we just used. It already has headers on it. Pivot tables do have to have headers. And we go into Insert, and we just click the Pivot Table button. It gives us some choices. You can put your pivot table inside your current document. I like to put it in a new worksheet. So here it's automatically selecting the data that you want to be in your pivot table. I like to put it in a new worksheet. Alright, so here's where our pivot table is going to be. These are our fields, our column headers that came from our data. And we're going to decide how we want to sort our data. So let's say we want to look at by branch. So we're going to make branches our row. So these are each of the 3 different branches of banks. And we're going to look at the total value of accounts in each bank. So we're going to take the amount and put it in the values column. So this is now summarizing all of the amount columns for each new account. Right? I like to rename this to pivot table or PT. So when I'm going back and forth to it, I can find it. Now these numbers, again, are hard to, I like numbers with commas. So you can go over here and click on your values and change your value field setting. Change your number format to a number that has commas. We don't need decimal places for this. It's easier when you're looking at tables to not have decimal places. I like my negative numbers to have parentheses around them. So I'm going to click on that one. Click OK. There we go. So the central, branch has $3,115,925 in accounts. So we need some more information. Of those branches, what type of accounts? So we can drag account type down here as a row too. And now, under each branch name, we can see the total value of CD accounts, checking accounts, IRA accounts. So it lets you, even break it down into more detail. Another thing, just to use this columns function over here, I would take let's go with weekday. And you can say by the day of the week. So on Mondays, 242,000 in CD accounts were opened up at Central. And you can use this to start to see patterns or total volumes. You can see here that IRA accounts were pretty low at this one at Westside, but IRAs were pretty high at North County. So what is well, they're high on these days of the week, but then on Friday and Saturday they're much lower. Anyway, it summarizes your data from this type of format into a table so you can look at it much cleaner. And like I said, you can switch things around. You can take out weekday, put it back up here, and it brings you back to this data. And if you say instead you want to look at dates, this might give us a lot of dates, I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot of dates, but you can change your dates to just show, well, that's a filter. Well, you can always unfilter it and just look at dates on November 1st. So those are just, and these are filters, and they can also be done over here. So that's that one. Let's take dates off of there. What else would we want to open up? Opened by, that'd be a good one. So you can see at Central Bank which accounts were opened by new accounts or by a teller. It's not my data, I don't really know the difference, but again, it's just an overall way to sort your data, and you can keep adding in as many filters as you want. So under new accounts, you know, if you add in your customers, these are your total existing customers and new customers. And for your teller transactions, you've got new customers and existing customers. That gets a little complicated, but you can see those are, you know, you've got endless possibilities here on how you want to sort your data. Let's go back. So I thank you for watching my video. I hope this video showed you 2 new features in Excel that you may not have used before. Be sure to keep in mind that macros can be used in all Microsoft Office products, and pivot tables can be used in an unlimited number of ways to help you refine and summarize your data. The best thing to remember with Excel, though, is to keep practicing and trying out new features, and you'll find things you didn't know before, and it'll help you with what you're trying to do. Thank you very much. Have a good day.